Once you're done watching this video, is you're gonna be able to start your weight loss journey on your terms. Hey folks, my name is Ari and welcome to FitPro VR, the #1 place on YouTube to get virtual reality tips from a true fitness professional. I'm on a lot of different message boards and I see a lot of the same questions over and over again. What's the best way to lose weight? There is so much bullshit all over the place. So what I'm gonna try and do is kind of cut through all that. Now I want you to stay till the end because all 10 of these tips go together and you're not gonna wanna miss one of them. And again, if this is something you're interested in hearing more of, go ahead and hit like and subscribe down at the bottom, and you're gonna get more fitness tips. So let's get started. Tip number 1, track all your food, all of it. I hate to break it to you. If you're not losing weight, you're not in a caloric deficit. Yes, I've heard a million people, I've been dieting, I've tried this, and I'm not losing weight. Okay, so unless you have a medical issue that's been evaluated by a doctor, that's not true. Okay, you're probably not eating in a caloric deficit or you're not tracking your food the right way. I know. People say it all the time. I've been on diets and I didn't lose any weight. There's a lot more to it than that. So again, this is why I want you to watch the whole video because I am going to do a callback to this and tell you that there are a lot more pieces than I dieted and I didn't lose weight. There's a lot more to it. What this is going to do is this is going to give you an idea of just how much you eat in a day. Like I said, this is the tough part. This is going to be harder than actually changing your food, is tracking your food and being confronted with the reality of how much you actually eat in a day. Because if you're eating and gaining weight, which a lot of us did, I did over the COVID thing because we got less active and we're at home more, we have more access to snacks and less access to movement, this is going to cause you to gain weight. It just is. I'm somebody who's very active throughout my day, and even I put on more weight than I wanted to because I wasn't up and moving around all day like I usually am. Also, when it comes to food tracking, your goal should be to teach yourself not to use it. So training your body to know what's exactly the right amount of food that your body needs. Tip number 2, you will never accurately know how much your body needs. So there's this thing called BMR. It stands for basal metabolic rate. It's basically the amount of food your body needs to live in a single day. The problem with this is your body needs different things on different days. Have you ever woken up super hungry before, or you've woken up and you don't feel like you need to eat? It's not a day-to-day. Your body doesn't really know, 24 hours, I need X amount of calories. It doesn't really work like that. It's more of like a 2 or 3 day span. So there are BMR calculators on the internet. They can swing all over the place, giving you around 1,000 calories of a difference, which is the difference between losing and gaining weight, like a lot of it. So one thing you should not do is stress about an exact number that you need to eat every day, which is why in the previous tip, I wanted you to track what you're eating currently, and then we can make adjustments from that number. One thing you can do with a BMR calculator though, is use that number as a guide, but you just have to pick one. And I recommend erring on the lower side. But again, lower is a subjective number. So that's why I recommend you also tracking your food before you diet. That way you know what a low number is for you. So for example, let's say you've gained 10 pounds in the last 6 months, okay? And you're eating fairly consistently. Now let's say you're eating like 2,500 calories per day and that's what's causing you to gain weight. You wouldn't jump on a BMR that says 1,200 calories per day if you're not gaining that much from that extra few calories. You would jump to something that's closer to like 1,500 or 1,800. So again, it's important to have both of those numbers so you're making a responsible decision. When you go too low, that's how you become unsuccessful. You can't work out, you don't lose weight as quick as you thought you would, and you give up quickly. Tip 3, avoid fitness challenges and avoid fad diets. Now, I'm sure you've heard this before. Is don't do the fad diets, don't do the fad diets. Okay, I'm here to tell you that that's actually true because there are a lot of people that like to jump on these celebrity diets and detox diets and teas that think that they burn fat, which I'm going to tell you right now that tea will never burn fat. It just doesn't work like that. You can't drink a tea and have it burn fat. But I also understand that people are typically looking for an easier way to lose weight, but losing weight is not easy. It never has been and it never will be. The word diet actually comes from the Greek word dieta, which just means daily or way of life. So that's how you need to approach your diet. Not as a challenge, not as a 30-day thing, but you need to approach your diet as a way of life that helps you become more successful and more confident in your day-to-day life, in your dieta. So fitness challenges and fad diets, they do produce results. I'm not here to tell you that they don't work. They do, but it comes at a very high cost. That cost is your well-being and your ability to keep those results after the challenge is over. Think of it like duct tape. It fixes a problem temporarily, but in the long term, you're not trying to drive around with your car duct taped. Tip 4, don't be a slave to cardio. Honestly, cardio is a great thing. Cardio is really great, but there are some people that are out there that are thinking that cardio equals weight loss, and the reality is not true. Let's take, for example, running. It's the most basic innate form of cardio that a human can do. So let's say you run 10 miles. Okay, you run 10 miles. On average, you'll burn about 1,000 calories. After you run, what do? If you've ever been to like a big race, here in Philly, we have the Broad Street 10 miler, or if you've ever been after a race, the first thing that most people do is they go to a bar and then they eat. And what they end up doing is eating more than they usually would when they would go there not after a race. So let's, for example, I used to be a runner. I've done countless races, and every single time we finished a race, I would go to the Bishop's Collar and I would pretty much eat my weight in nachos and drink 3 beers. Not only did I eat the calories that I just burned off, which is fine. You have to replace them. But then I would also drink like 3 beers because it was social. And after that, you can consume up to like 2,000 calories, and you're already putting yourself at a disadvantage. Now, I'm not saying don't eat after cardio. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying cardio in excess typically gets people to eat in excess afterwards. Here's the reason you should do cardio. It's great for your heart, and it's a nice way to burn a few extra calories per day. This is how I use cardio. My goal is to live to be 95. That's my one goal in life. I don't set a lot of goals, and you're going to find out later why. But my goal is to live to at least be 95 and be able to squat and deadlift the entire time. The biggest killer in the United States today is heart disease. People who don't take care of their heart. So doing cardio at the right level is great for your heart. Doing excessive cardio is not great for your heart, and I'll put the study down in the description below. Consider this. Instead of doing 20 minutes of cardio when like you might be fatigued or you're not feeling it that day, one thing you can do is just make a couple adjustments in your diet. So let's say 20 minutes of cardio is equal to 200 or 300 calories. Let's just call it what it is, because that's about on average what it is. Instead of doing that 20 minutes of cardio, if you've already been doing it and you're tired, what you could do is do less salad dressing on a salad. You could cut out half of a dessert that you were going to eat or you budgeted into your daily intake. Let's say you're cooking vegetables, and the way I cook vegetables is vegetables, olive oil, salt, pepper, roast. Now, what if you just did half the amount of oil that you typically would do on top of vegetables, or even no oil, or even the little spray oil? There's a lot of different things you can do to supplement your weight loss without having to resort to cardio. Because I have a tendency to do that too, is I'm looking at my food tracker and I'm like, I'm gonna be 200 calories over today. I gotta jump on and do another cardio workout, even though my back and everything hurts. This is one thing you can do to make sure that you're not burning yourself out only doing cardio and hoping to lose weight. Tip number 5, use a scale, but understand its weaknesses. So there's gonna be a lot of people telling you that a scale is worthless. Don't use a scale, only use this or that, or how you feel, or a different shirt. Those are all great too, but definitely use a scale. The thing about a scale is, it can be a liar, and you need to understand how to use it the right way and not obsess about the number. A lot of things go into that number, and you have to look at it from an overall perspective. So I'm going to show you how to use the scale the right way to not obsess about it. The scale, what it does is it tells you the amount of gravitational force your body has on Earth. Nobody sees that number or cares about it but you. When you walk down the street, you don't look at somebody and boom, their weight pops up. It doesn't work like that. So this is one of the reasons you shouldn't obsess about it, but at the same time, use it to make sure you're on track with your goals. People will see your actual body and notice that you appear leaner or you appear tighter. So again, here's how you're going to use this scale though. You're going to use it once every, you ready for this? It's going to blow your mind, 2 to 3 weeks. Yes, you are not going to do a daily weigh-in. That is a recipe for disaster. Do it once every 2 to 3 weeks, because the typical amount of time it takes your body to adjust and see results from a new diet is about 2 to 3 weeks. So mark on your calendar, draw a picture of a scale on each day, and here's how you're going to do it. You're going to do it in the morning, after you've gone to the bathroom, completely naked. This is going to give you an idea of how much you've actually lost. And so if you've implemented a new diet and you've been sticking to it honestly, we're going to talk more about honesty later, you should see that scale move within 2 to 3 weeks. If it doesn't move, that's telling you that you haven't been in a caloric deficit and you need to make an adjustment, either a little bit more exercise or a little less food or a little of both, but don't go crazy with that. Tip number 6, log your workouts correctly with a heart rate monitor. And when I say heart rate monitor, I mean a chest strap heart rate monitor. I'm not talking about a Fitbit or an Apple Watch or something that tracks your overall percentage throughout the day. The reason I'm not a big fan of Apple Watches and Fitbit stuff is because that was a trend about 5 years ago. I gotta get my steps in, 3,000 steps, 10,000 steps, whatever. But it doesn't really accurately take into consideration everything your body's doing, and it's also not great at reading your heart rate. When we take what's called your radial pulse, you actually have to take your 2 fingers and push the artery against the bone, your radius here, and then feel it from there, because what you're doing is you're blocking that artery and you're feeling the pulse of blood building up behind it. That's how you take your pulse. If you need to know more, you can Google how to take a pulse. But when you're wearing a watch, think of how sometimes it's a little loose or not tight enough to like push on you, because if it was, you would lose circulation in your hand. So it's taking sort of a measurement. It's like doing infrared stuff and looking at your blood. I use a polar chest strap heart rate monitor. It goes around my chest. It connects to my phone. Then I use the app called Fit IV Pulse or Fit4 Pulse to get an accurate reading of how much I burn. It gives you the active, it gives you your total calories, and you can make the adjustment on your diet from there. If you look in the description below, I've actually linked the heart rate monitor that I use when I track my workouts. The problem with an Apple Watch is it can have a variance of like 15 to 18% based on, a lot of different factors. Now imagine you burned 400 calories during a workout. An 18% variance is around 78 calories of that 400. Now let's say you do that every day for a whole week. That's about 500 calories that you potentially didn't burn, but your app thought you burned, and can be the difference in your weight loss. You could actually be burning a lot less than you thought, and you're eating based on that number that has a variance. Again, I don't trust the wrist. I only do chest strap. Number 7, learn how your body actually loses weight. And when I say your body, I mean your body. Some people gain weight in their legs. Some people gain weight in their face or neck. And that's just all genetic. Hormones, menopause, testosterone levels, all these things take this into consideration. And while accountability groups are great and it's fun to be around people that are doing and suffering the same way you are, a lot of times it can be detrimental because you don't see your results happening as fast as somebody else. So it can play a little bit of a role in motivating you or demotivating you. There's a lot of people out there trying to get you to join their accountability group, be it Instagram, be it Facebook, using in tandem with a product. Now you have to remember, these people that are trying to get you to join their group have one goal in mind, and it's to get your money. That's it. There's never going to be a trainer out there, besides me, of course, who's going to help you with your nutrition for free. That's just not how it works. Sorry. So you just have to be mindful that somebody might be trying to sell you something, and if you're okay with that, by all means, do it. You have to buy stuff sometimes, but avoid these pyramid schemes where people start trying to get you to recruit other people and sell their product. Just stay away from pyramid schemes. They don't work. Tip number 8. Now, remember before I was telling you to only look at the scale every 2 to 3 weeks? Well, now we're going to talk about why that's important. because you need to be smart about how you make your adjustments. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you've never dieted or you're starting it for the first time again after being unsuccessful in the past, here's what you're going to do. You're going to make your adjustments, but you're not going to cut out any of the foods you eat. So if you're somebody who eats pizza and French fries and hamburgers, keep it. You're going to keep it for now. Okay, you can make those adjustments later, but a big mistake that people do is they start cutting out everything and replacing it with things they don't like. You've conditioned your body to eat a certain way. So it didn't happen all at once. You didn't just suddenly decide, I'm going to eat burgers and French fries all day long. No, you've conditioned your body to do that. So you have to reasonably decondition your body to take all that food out. So what you're going to do is you're going to replace one or two things throughout the day, or you're going to cut the things you do in half. This is the first step and the biggest mistake that people make is they go on fruit cleanses, they go on detoxes, they go on juice cleanses. And this big change is not something that's easy to deal with. It's the same with anything in life. You can't just up and start a new something and feel immediately comfortable in it. That's not how we work as humans. The other thing I want you to do is stop creating goals. What you do need is to start putting in healthy habits, because once you start conditioning yourself into healthy habits, all those other goals that you thought you needed happen automatically. And in fact, you usually break through them a lot quicker because you're training your body to live like this, as opposed to looking down the road and pressuring yourself to be like this. The problem with stuff like this is setting goals is they give you an end date. After this date, I will be happy. I used to fight at 145 pounds. I'm 208 pounds right now. I used to fight at 145. That was the only time in my life that I have ever had visible abs, when I was starving myself. And I always thought, like, if I had abs, that'd be great. But guess what? I was miserable and I did not like it. And I never want abs again. You can keep the abs. I don't want them. I am happy with my dad bod because I am healthy, and I'm healthier now than I ever was back then when I was crash dieting for MMA. Now, if you're morbidly obese, let's say you're 350 pounds and you start implementing changes, weight is going to fall off if you're consistent. It's going to come off like, I lost 20 pounds in a month. That's normal. That's absolutely normal for somebody who's morbidly obese and making like healthy changes. Tip number 9, be honest. It is very easy to lie to yourself about what you did or what you put into your body, be it food, calorie count, how much you exercise, what your exercise actually did for you. And it's easy to lie to yourself even without even realizing it. So for example, let's say I go to the gym and I do some weights, and then I do some weights, and then I do some weights, and then I come home and go, well, I didn't track that. How many calories did I burn? Let's just say 300. The reality is you probably didn't burn close to that, but you don't know. So you had to make up something, or you don't. So it becomes a very big issue of, I wonder how much this homemade chocolate chip cookie in calories is. Let's say it's 100 calories. The reality might be it's like 250 calories. You also have to understand that losing weight is hard. It is not an easy thing to do. You're making a life change, and your body is going to fight you back for it. Your body is used to doing certain things. It doesn't want to. If you have a toddler at home, you know what that's like. Trying to get them to do something that they're not used to doing, it's insane. And your body's doing the same thing. Your body's basically a toddler inside you. Is there a toddler in me? Hope not. That'd be weird. And it's going to test your patience, your energy levels, and it's going to make you want to quit. That's how we survived in the past, is by doing things easier. We had to do that. But now we're in a different world where everything's very accessible. So easy is, for lack of a better term, easy. So you have to have patience. You have to be honest. And you can't go around saying, well, I dieted and it didn't work, because probably you just didn't do it right. So we're here. We're at tip number 10. Thank you for sticking around till tip number 10, because this, in my opinion, is one of the most important things about it. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself for how you look, and look at weight loss as how you feel and how healthy you should be. I'm going to show you right now my weight loss journey. Here's me at 287 pounds. That's the highest I ever got, versus me at 165 pounds there. Now, my weight goes up and down. Okay, this is me 40 pounds ago when I was at the bottom of my weight loss journey. And then I got into MMA and lifting. So I put on weight, but I put on a lot of good weight and some fat. But again, so if you have a little bit of fat, it's okay. I am never going to be on the cover of Men's Fitness magazine. It's not going to happen. They don't want to see people like me, and that's okay. because those people that are on those magazines are starving themselves and dehydrating themselves. Every movie you've ever watched, Brad Pitt from Fight Club, Henry Cavill from The Witcher, they are starving themselves and dehydrating themselves in order to achieve that look, which is not healthy. So your weight loss goals should be based on health and not people on Instagram with a million different filters pushing things in and out and watching the floor bend around them to look a certain way. That should never be your goal. I know that's a hard thing to say as someone who's grown up around like superheroes and things that this is the ideal male body or this is the ideal female body. But we have to fight actively against that and know that no, it is not healthy to be morbidly obese. And the people that are selling you the healthy at any weight thing are completely full of shit. They are. They're afraid to face the reality of what being that large does to the human body. They won't say it. I'm not afraid to. On the flip side, you have to take into consideration that being under a certain amount of body fat is not healthy either. It has to be something in the middle. You have to find what's right for you. And that's why I don't want to say that you have to lose every ounce of fat that you need. You don't have to do anything. But what you do have to do is you have to understand that there are repercussions for the things that you do. If you starve yourself, there are repercussions. If you overeat and gain hundreds of pounds, there are repercussions. You have to find a happy medium, and that's the only way that weight loss is going to truly become a normalized thing without people on either side screaming at you that it has to be this way or the next. Do not confuse healthy at any weight with self-love. You should love yourself throughout the entire process. You should always love yourself. That's the only way you're going to want to get better. But you have to understand that you can love yourself and also be actively working on yourself and still be okay. People shouldn't force any one viewpoint on you. And if they want to believe that, that's fine. The problem is the science doesn't agree with them. The science doesn't say you can be healthy at any weight. I will link a few articles down below, but it's full of shit is what it is. And over here, this isn't sustainable. We know this. This is not sustainable for the average human. This is for somebody else. It's not me. And I'm a fitness professional. This is what I do for a living. This isn't me. But absolutely, this isn't me either. Comment down below. I respond to 99% of the comments, as long as they're not spam or making fun of my face. I'm going to respond to it. But I'm looking forward to hearing back from you. I want to know what you think. Scream at me for being fat phobic. Yell at me for not looking like a fitness model. I don't care. Just do it in the comments down below. My name is Ari with FitPro VR, and don't forget to get your workout in today.